Hello architecture and engineering students. This video will be setting up AutoCAD, essentially opening AutoCAD, setting it up, and then getting your first steps in creating your absolute relative and polar drawings. So when you log in, you have your environment here. You're going to go down to the Windows orb and you are going to type in AutoCAD. That'd be AUTOCAD, and you should get AutoCAD 2017 English that comes up. The first time you click it, it's going to be a little bit different from the first time I click it. So I just want to give you a heads up. What's going to happen is when you click the program, it's going to install it on your profile. When it installs on the profile, it is going to come up with a box that's going to ask you to identify something you want to do with what are called DWG files. You want to just select the top option, which is always associate or reassociate. Just select the top option. Then it's going to open up AutoCAD and it's going to ask you to take part in a improvement plan. You can just click out of that, or you can click that you never want to see that again. Once that's gone, you're going to come to this document right here, which is a start window. And to get started for our absolute relative polar in this case, we are going to create a new drawing. So we're not going to worry about title blocks. That's going to be later in the week. But right now we're just going to select new. When we select new, it's going to ask us to select a template because we haven't made one yet, which we will later this week. You're okay with just selecting this AutoCAD.dwt. You go ahead and hit open. You're going to come to a document. It's going to load. It's going to load the tabs, the ribbon, and it's going to load the application status bar. Once those are loading, depending on if this is your first time opening AutoCAD, it might take a while. This is something that normally happens. What we're going to do is now set up AutoCAD so we can draw efficiently. So here's what we're going to do. You can see here in the back, ladies and gentlemen, we have this grid. I personally don't like to draft with the grid. You can if you want. You can see how it helps you out. But down here in the application status bar, I'm just going to go ahead and turn off the display grid. So you can click that on and off, and you see the grid. So I'm going to turn that off, and then I'm going to go to the right here where it says customization. I'm going to click on this little 3-bar customization icon, and in the customization icon, you want to make sure that you have selected, you want to make sure you have a check mark by something called dynamic input. Now the reason we want to have a check mark by it is because we actually want to turn it off. So we're going to select dynamic input. We're going to make sure that that is turned on. We're going to go down and we're just going to kind of make sure yours matches mine so you can just follow along with me. These are good: dynamic input, ortho mode, polar tracking, isometric drafting we don't need to worry about, so we can turn off isometric drafting. Object snap tracking, object snap, we want both of those on, that's fine. Moving on, those are all fine. These can all stay on, that's fine. Units, I like to turn on units. Right now they're in decimal, as you can see here, it added in decimal. And I like to turn on quick properties as well. Everything else can pretty much stay the same. So you just want to make sure you have yours the same as mine. Now, that just displays, again, this just displays the icons in the application status bar. If one of these icons is blue, that means it is on. If it is gray, that means it is off. When you turn on dynamic input, your dynamic input will most likely be blue, meaning that it's on. We want to turn this off. If this is on, then we can't actually draft relative or polar. To give you an example, here's what it looks like when it's on. If I select this and I click line, it pretty much puts the command line right by my cursor. You can see there where it says specify first point, and it gives me numbers as I move around. This automatically drafts in polar, and we don't want to do that. So we want to turn that off to start with. And now, once I have my cursor, I can start to draft either absolute, relative, and polar. Since we're just mostly going to be messing with lines, you can go up and click the line button, and then you can just continue from your worksheet. So we always talked about that the first point was 2, 1. You can see here I just typed 2, 1 and it automatically inserted it into my command line. you don't actually have to click inside the command line to activate it. Your command line is activated immediately when you press anything. So if I have 2, 1, and then I wanted to start to draw my object, whatever it may be, then I can just say, how about 2, 2? And my object will have moved 2, 2, a little bit of a slant right here. And then you can continue just drafting as you go around. So that's just setting up AutoCAD. I'm going to go through it as a demo for you. This video is going to be used to help you set it up in case you forget. This is kind of how you want to set up AutoCAD every single time that you use it.